How are you guys doing? Time's running out this week and forever. It's always running out. What do you guys get done this week? Somehow I always feel like I don't accomplish very much. But that gives me more motivation to keep on trucking. On the off chance anyone shows up here, if I don't respond right away, I put the phone in my pocket most of the time because it's hard enough for my pea brain to keep a train of thought while I'm not doing anything else, let alone trying to do more than one thing at once. So if you stick around, maybe we could say hi. It's weird. I was thinking earlier today of like I need to try to do more, but do more with what I have. I've kind of boxed myself in with. I don't feel comfortable sharing these streams much anywhere. The whole point of these is a one way funnel. Hopefully in the right direction towards the truth. But I figured I have one avenue that I haven't used. That's pretty much the only avenue left without making something new. And one thing I learned among many is before you go trying to ask God for help to make have new stuff to do something with, you gotta make the most of what you already got. So giving that a shot, see how it goes. Now that spring's warmed up, not only is it mating season, it's car show season. And people are headed to the junkyard in more ways than one. And the weird thing about telling somebody that it's telling someone that all the stuff that we see is, it's all fake. It's not real. At least not how most people engage with life. Not real at all. There's only one way anything is real, but we'll save that for later. Now we have to work on the foundation. You can explain all this to, that the car is going to rust and other plastic's going to degrade with UV exposure and crack and fall apart. And the woman that they lust after, is going to rot and become worm food, just like you are, and I will, and everyone else in this world. And even, a person can say that they see that, they understand that, but most people really don't. Like, not even in the smallest real way. There's a few people that do, or at least start to, kind of. But the thing is, if a person really understands that it's all fake, it's not real, then they divest themselves from it as immediately and as intensively as they possibly can. But even if some people start to see it, or they understand what you're talking about, like, that all the stuff that people put their effort into is not going to last. They know in their heart, or at least in their mind, logically, that it's all, the car's going to rust, the plastic's going to fall apart, the woman's going to grow old and wrinkly, and we're all going to die and become worm food. But how do you put that into your life? How do you take that thought and turn it into an action that improves life? Without a key component, most people, even if they understand, they won't have the tools to put it into action. They can see, a Model T in the rust bucket, or, Hollywood stars that grow old and die. And they can see the consequences of life and time, and this is all very temporary. And yet all the stuff that's fake, we like it. We like it a lot. I know it's fake. I know it's not real. I know it's, I know it's lies, but I like it. I like it a lot. What's the big deal? I'm just going to enjoy some life. Just going to have a good time. And then a person without any merits spends their whole life, having a good time, ignoring that everything is falling apart around them, including themselves. And then they only realize after they leave the world that how badly they screwed up. A person that has a few measly merits somehow in their account, God has mercy on them and shows them the truth and pushes them ever so gently towards the light, towards the truth, the real truth, not some phony, hokey, new age garbage. no light warrior nonsense, or like the actual light that's not even the sun, like light that you can't see, that it gives us life. But I say ever so gently, but it's really not ever so gently. It's ever so gently for God, but for us and our human bodies, it feels pretty unbearable. The force it takes to push us away from the lies and towards the truth. The link to Rabbi Rubin's latest Stump the Rabbi lecture should be in the description. And he talks about this week's Torah portion. There's a really valuable insight on something that almost everyone in the world throughout all time would have missed, except for the Jewish sages. This comes from something so seemingly unrelated to anything human. Next week is Pesach, but Goyim really don't have to worry about that too much. At least other than the basic fundamentals of removing our internal chametz, our arrogance and pride and all our other horrible, flawed character traits. But in Leviticus 6:21, I think it's 6:21, talks about koshering a vessel that was used to bring one of the offerings. Let's see. An earthenware vessel in which it was cooked shall be broken, but if it was cooked in a copper vessel, that shall be purged and rinsed with water. Well, this is a common process in kosher cooking called koshering or koshering. And the general rule is like however the vessel was used to make the food is how the koshering process works. Like if it was like a pot that was used to make soup, you boil water in it to remove the like non-kosher food and residue to make it kosher again. For Pesach, it's like anything that has wheat in it or leaven, anything that was used to make wheat products. But the earthenware vessel, the koshering only applies to the metal vessel. The earthenware vessel, it's got open pores, and there's no way to get that flavor out. It's like stuck in there. And with the offering, it's not just the flavor; it's like everything. It has a spiritual aspect to it, and there's no way to get any of it out. So God says to break the earthenware vessel, so they can't be used anymore. And Rabbi Reuben, his insight is for the two types of people that do TeShuva. He says the metal vessel is the person that God applies a little heat to them, and they hear the truth, and they see the consequences of their actions and what will be born out of a thing, and immediately they do TeShuva. They understand that they are not in a good spot, and they immediately do everything that they possibly can to correct their actions. And then there's the earthenware vessel. where God gives them wake up call after wake up call after wake up call, and they hear the truth. And whether they accept it as a truth or not is irrelevant, because one, a person can accept the truth and know it's true, but just disregard it. And they acknowledge that the Torah is real and that their actions have consequences, and God exists, and there's reward and there's punishment. Well, they just don't want to change. They either think, they make excuses like they can't, or they just like sinning too much. They like the filth. They like wallowing in a pigsty, a sewage treatment plant that is most people's lives. They just, they don't want to change. They say, well, I don't steal, I don't lie too much or too often anyway. I don't murder anybody. What's the big deal? I'm a nice guy. And if a person has merits, then, like I said, God will give him a few chances, and eventually he'll have to take the earthenware vessel that is the second person that they feel they eat, but they don't do TeShuva. They don't repent and return to God and learn about what God said and why and how they screwed up and fix it. They go by their own halakha. They go by their own law. They look in the book, or maybe even they just make up stuff in their own head. I'm not sure which is worse, but I think God understands. Right? I think, I see it this way, which is exactly exactly what I used to think. But my problem was I just never did the footwork. I never read anything. I never paid attention. I dabbled. I thought, everyone got it wrong except for, maybe me. Maybe I got it right. At least some of it, maybe. Then slowly, God have mercy on me, and somehow I God humbled me. Who am I kidding? I was an earthenware vessel. God had to break me into little tiny bits. At least, from my perspective. Thank God I have my own tests and not someone else's, because a lot of times it was hard enough. But that's another thing, is a person only gets tests that we can handle, that we can pass. And the only reason that we don't is that we don't do what we need to do in order to pass the test. Mostly, praying to God, learning and applying what we learn, and stop making excuses. But Rabbi Rubin says, eventually, if they don't do TeShuva with a little heat, they're not the metal vessel. So they're earthenware, and God will have to smash them into bits in order for them to see the truth. But that's only for people that have some merit. People that don't have any merit, they'll never see the truth. And they will suffer one of the worst curses in the Torah. That they say, may peace be upon me, and he blessed himself in his heart. May peace be with me. after he hears all the curses and he sees that obviously that they're real. Like, it's impossible to look in the Torah, what people know as the Old Testament, the 5 books of Moses, and know any amount of history and not know without a doubt that obviously there's something going on there. And it's more than just some old dusty story. Because the same thing that's written in the Torah keeps happening over and over and over again. It's a promise from God. And it's not just some, loosely worded, vague, false prophecy. It's the word of God. It's absolutely true. And the only person that doubts it is anyone that hasn't done the footwork, that hasn't read and looked and toiled and begged God to show them the truth. And that's the only way that most people are ever going to do TeShuva. Because the reality is most of us are earthenware vessels, and we will have to be smashed to bits before we see the truth and repent and mend our wicked ways. It doesn't matter how much we look at, the fakeness of life and all the lies, the new cars and the, gross, disgusting advertisements on TV and Hollywood and the music industry and international banking. There's only one reason for everything. Is God. God is the reason. You can't look for, you can, but it's a fool's errand to look for excuses and conspiracy theories. Cursed is the man that trusts in man, and even more cursed is the man that fears man. The wicked are just a tool, just a stick. I've been thinking about the Orthodox Jewish Bible lately. Such a weird thing. Once I figured out what it was like, what in the hell is this abomination? That had to be one of the greatest things I ever did was not to buy one of those. Thank God. Somehow I knew way back then, a few years ago, that once I realized it had a New Testament in it, I was pretty shocked. Like, what in the hell? How is that Jewish? Let alone how is it Orthodox? May God help, any person, but especially any Jew that not only reads that disgusting filth, but actually wrote and published that garbage. May God have mercy on them to show them the truth and help them help them to do TeShuva, real TeShuva, not whatever nonsense is in their own head. And it's amazing to me that anyone can read, very much of the Torah and still have any delusions that the New Testament has any validity for anything other than toilet paper. Because that's what God calls idolatry, as dung. But one, I think the most obvious thing is people just don't do the work. They let someone else do the work for them, and then they listen to other people. And if they do try to read themselves, to toil for the truth themselves, and they just can't see it, then there's only one reason, is that they're still too polluted by their sins. I mean, for myself personally, somehow God had mercy on me and showed me enough of the truth to run from the New Testament and falsianity without even reading the commentary from the Jewish sages, which is Baruch Hashem, is a miracle in its own, that any human being can get can have, God can grant them the wisdom to see enough of the truth to, without the real guideposts that are the Jewish sages. For anyone that hasn't bought a Chumash yet, which is probably almost everyone that's gonna ever listen to this, it is a hugely valuable resource. At first, it's really difficult to navigate, because we're goyim and we're used to opening books and reading from left to right. But let's see if I can figure out how to make this thing work again. Oh, I have to. Hold on, let's see. No, that screen won't lock in. Okay. At first, when I opened this, when I first got it, it was like, for some reason, a foreign language, which it is. That's the cover. But let's get to. This is this week's Torah portion, Parashat Tzav. In This week, for anyone that doesn't know, the first Kohen Gadol, the first high priest, was Moses. He was high priest for 1 week, the time it took for Aaron and his sons to be anointed. Like, this is how important commentary is, that we understand. Like, there's 4.5 verses, and there's over a page of commentary. I haven't read very much of the commentary on this, so I don't know if I'll be able to find anything real, anything that stands out to me or to you. But with God's help, it's obviously in here. But if God won't help us, then we're helpless. Well, while we're looking, we can talk about spiritual levels. You know, there's a lot of spiritual levels. Well, there's only two real important ones. There's going up or going down. That's all that really matters. You know, ideally, we all want to reach the 50th level, but moving up is the only important thing. And it doesn't seem like it at first. It takes a lot of work. But one of the reasons why reading is so, reading the weekly Torah portion, it's in the commentary there. Or it's not the commentary, the comments. Leviticus 6:1 to 8:36. The reason why reading the weekly Torah portion is so important is because it holds all the secrets for life. Like the secrets for how everything in the world was made is held right there in those letters. But if we learn, especially with commentary, read the weekly Torah portion, and beg God for help and apply what we learn with God's help, then we'll see our past behavior and our past thoughts and our past pretty much everything was the complete opposite of where we should be, where we want to be. We want to be right here, because this is God's word. This is the instruction manual for life. I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I do, but I'm lost on lost on find anything. You know, Goyim are forbidden from celebrating any of the holidays, including Pesach. I mean, especially Pesach, because no Goyim has a Brit Milah. There are lots of Goyim, non-Jews that are circumcised. Oh, what the hell? Lots of non-Jews that are circumcised, but a Brit Milah is a lot more than just taking off a bit of flesh. But non-Jews are forbidden from observing Pesach, the Passover. Of course, most people either don't care or don't want to hear that, and don't believe it, depending on which side of the fence they fall on. Either atheists or just some version of idolatry, whether it's the idolatry of I know what I'm doing and I can do whatever I want, or it's the more common idolatry of the New Testament. And I try not to be so abrasive about it, but it's like knowing that 2 + 2 is 4. There's like 2 billion people in the world that are saying, no, it's 3, brother. It's 3. 2 + 2 is 3. No. Really, it's 1. 2 + 2 is 1. And 5 + 2 is 1. And 8 - 5 is 1. And 16 times 37 is 1. So that's all there is. There's only 1. Not 2, not 3, not 87. But there are things that non-Jews can learn from the Jewish holidays that are valuable and critical to every human being. But we can only do that if we learn, if we read and we listen to lectures. So we should do that. That's a good idea. I've been trying to do that. If you're new here, check the description. Like the rabbi says, dedicate 4 lectures. Set aside the time to watch 4 lectures and compare it to an equal amount of time to anything else you could possibly do in the world. And if you actually apply what you learn, God guarantees it that there is no comparison. Maybe maybe you're so far off that you don't even believe in God. But at first, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. All you have to do is submit yourself that you have no clue what is going on. You're totally, totally lost in the world. And just beg God for help. And just keep doing it forever. Never, ever give up. If you do that, God promises that you will see. And it will improve your life to an unfathomable, unexplainable degree. There's only one way that anything is real. And it's not what you say or you think or what I say or I think. It is what God says. And at first, it's for a person that has kind of like a truth meter. At first, that kind of statement rubs people the wrong way. Like, how dare you speak for God? And in some respects, that's a good trait to have. But in other respects, it can be a huge stumbling block that prevents us from really achieving and seeing the truth, like the complete and whole truth, as much as a person is able to in this world. Slowly, slowly. But there is a way to be sure, 100%. You read the book, you read the Torah, you watch lectures, and you do it. You apply what you learn to your life. 1,000,000,000% for sure. There's no doubt whatsoever that this is the truth. No question. Everything else is some shade of a lie, either just black and disgusting or slightly dusty. But anything else but what this is some shade of a lie. Everything that we look at, everything in the world, there's only one way anything is true, anything at all. And that is if we can take whatever it is and use it to glorify God's name, to use it to fulfill God's will. Like, either this is just some dust and some probably lead-based Chinese paint and wood and some plastic that's completely fake and worthless, or we can use it to make something true. see if I can remember how to do this. There's a certain way you're supposed to write the letters. I have no idea what that is. No, that's wrong. Maybe that's right. We'll see. That's Hebrew for truth. Aleph is the first letter in the Hebrew alphabet. Mem is approximately the middle. And Toph is the last letter. Amet, the beginning, the middle, and the end. This is God's signature. God has always been here since the beginning, before the world was created. Oh, that's not right. Before the world was created. God's here right now in this moment. And God will be here at the end after everything else is turned to dust. Not sure if I can remember how to spell Sheker. Lies. One thing I learned from Rabbi Reuben a while back is that's awesome about Hebrew and the words is that one, that they're how the world was created. They hold in them just the most amazing, awesome secrets. And somehow I had the merit to learn this. But one thing that I learned from Rabbi Reuben is about the Hebrew letters, specifically the words emet, truth, and sheker, lies, is that all the letters are stable. They all have 2 points of contact, and the truth is here at the beginning, the middle, and at the end. But sheker, all these 3 letters are right next to each other in the Hebrew alphabet, but they're rearranged. They're not in the right order. Just like a lie is twisted. But they also only have one leg to stand on. And when you shine the light of truth on it, they all fall right over. Lies can't last. Some lies seem like they're the truth. They've been around for a while. Some even longer than Christianity. Like lust. Like our own desires. They have been around almost since the beginning. Not quite, though. I forget what the sages say. I think it's around the third day of creation. There's a on all the days where God said, and he saw it, and it was good. I think there's one day where he didn't say it was good, and there's also one day where he says it was very good. The sages say the day that God said it was very good was the day he created Satan. You know, most people who hear that and say, well, that's insane, that can't be right. Why would God think Satan is very good? I gotta go though. May God grant us all the strength to overpower our evil desires and to see the truth and do TeShuva before he has to break us into any more smaller bits of earthenware.